perfect time to talk about testosterone and Bruin and all that, because you are right now on a current campaign defining and in dislike of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
What does where does that register for you in terms of? Give me an example of toxic masculinity. You don't have to. Just what's like a cut that out.
I mean,
for
we can go deep, but I'll
Yeah.
try and keep it light. I think toxic masculinity for me is almost a lack of vulnerability in males.
Oh.
You know, as a true.
That's a real answer, actually.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Good for you.
This
Cheer-
is,
hey, cheers to a real answer.
Hey,
Thank you.
cheers.
Non-pretender here.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, we're always straddling the line of character and real life, right?
Yeah.
I think very much this era I'm in at the moment is very true to who I am. There's
Yeah.
a lot turned up to 11. I feel that. I feel like I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
So I think toxic masculinity for males particularly, even though females, watch out because you can suffer. You can
You
suffer.
can suffer from it. Cheers. You can suffer from toxic masculinity.
But yeah, let's take a male, for example. You know, in life as humans, we have typical masculine traits and feminine traits. I think men struggle to be vulnerable and open up with those feminine traits. You know,
Yeah.
they feel like they have to go big on those masculine traits because really they're just kind of scared or vulnerable or shy or insecure. But the way to deal with that for a lot of men is to punch a hole through a wall. They don't know how to express themselves and express their emotions. Me, I'm a little bit feminine, I'm a little bit masculine, but I think that makes me a bigger man than Matt Cardona. I think that makes me a bigger man than anyone else on the roster.
Sure.
So not only am I trying to get to the top, but I'm trying to get to the top with a message to create a new culture within men and create a better man.
In your efforts to create a better man, and you mentioned someone who you thought was toxic and masculine as well, that being Matt Cardona, a combination of the two. Chipped your tooth, I heard.
Yeah. I went to the dentist the week after, no remorse. And I grew up on the woo-woo kid.
Yeah.
You think I wasn't watching going, woo.
And here he is chipping your tooth.
I never thought it was going to get me.
Now, in his defense, and we have to defend him because one time in this very room I didn't, and he let me know. He says he kicked you, but the other side of your mouth is where the tooth was chipped. So he thinks it's not his kick that caused the chipped tooth. But I'm of the thought, having been in the ring with him, it probably was.
It was the other side, but I don't think you realize that's how bad the kick was. It comes here, it clenches the teeth down, and it kind of vibrates.
Yeah. Let me ask you, because it seems like your campaign here and your journey to do this, to get to the top of the message, as you said, that's a lot in your job as a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
So it almost seems you're doing a little bit of you're doing far more than pro wrestling if you're after all of toxic masculinity. If I could say so, this is quite ambitious.
Yeah, I think, I think I'm leading the charge for this genre. You know, there's a lot of people fighting the good fight. You know, I'm an ally, of course, but I think I'm the one guy in professional wrestling. I'm not the one guy, obviously, but in the current landscape we're in WWE, in SmackDown, I'm fighting the fight, you know? And I truly believe in the cause. I truly believe that all the men, whether you're toxic a little bit or toxic a lot, you could benefit from, you know, letting your feelings out. You could benefit from being more vulnerable.
Nick Aldis, our general manager, he toxic or not? Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Easy toxic. Okay.
And I've gotten there. And if we're going to be a bit real, the man has helped me a lot recently with this.
But toxic.
Oh, still toxic.
Yeah, you said it. You can be friends. You can like this guy, but
it doesn't mean you can't grow.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a lesson in life to grow.
What about like the current locker room leader and kind of the elder statesman? Not that he's elder at all, not being Randy Orton. I've seen moments where he's quite vulnerable.
Well, yeah, look, I don't know Randy obviously as well as you. However, I saw him on Steph's podcast, on Stephanie's podcast. I think he opened up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he can attest to it. I'm sure he got tons of messages. Him opened up the door for so many people to open up themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important message of this. That being said, toxic.
It's so two toxics now. Yeah.
Toxic.
And you mentioned a female can be, there can be, so I'll tell you one. Jade toxic, probably, right?
Well, she's been nice to me recently. She's been complimenting me in how I dress. So
that can't be the only reason, though.
All right, toxic.
You know, like
Jade, you got
we
me.
like Jade. Jade's we're you know, she's a special part of SmackDown. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of who's out there being vulnerable, being aware.
You know, I've been doing a lot of
being transparent.
Well, I've been doing a lot of promos in the ring recently, and I come after a lot of the males in the audience. But don't you think I don't see the women undressing me with their eyes?
Yeah.
Toxic.
That's a toxic trait.
That's a toxic
You're not
trait.
a piece of meat,
No, and I say this all the time, but I get my kicks above the waistline.
right?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
That's a line I like to use.
I don't know if I know what that even means.
I don't think you need to know.
Yeah, I got it as like it's developing, but now, okay, all right. Great. Thank you for there's a lot I'm learning as we go. Here's kicking back to IPW UK.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the business in total? Because that was 2 years in, you said?
Yeah, I think roughly we'd have to look at the day. I started in 2014.
Dang.
I started training then, yeah. But one person that I guess I would say early on was training me or did a few sessions with, Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's
Dude.
kind of a Kent guy, so he kind of popped in, did little bits with him. But
I was always surprised, A, he's taller than you think.
yeah, he's really tall.
But B, I might have asked you this backstage. I had my first independent match with him. And then I would wrestle him multiple times after that.
Yeah.
He was very, very stiff.
He is.
Not unsafe, but just you knew you were in a fight.
Yeah.
And I always kind of laughed looking at him like, who are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove here, man? Like he did the deal where I jump up on the second, he kicked the back of my foot.
Yeah.
Where and I had a mark on the back of my leg. He left with me basically for a couple weeks. Yeah.
I know we got Flash Morgan Webster with that as well. Yeah, I think he's
out there getting people.
Yeah, but maybe that's toxic.
Is that toxic, or is he kind of one of those who can tie you up a little bit and wants to like
Well, I think that
let
too.
you know?
I think that too.
Yeah.
I'm yet to wrestle him.
Yeah.
I only did a few training sessions, and again, this is so early in that he wouldn't see the man that I am today, even though we've seen each other down the line. But I'd love to get in there with him. I would.
So you're a baby in all this, man. I don't mean that in a. It's different than what we've had on the podcast with.
Yeah, well, I thought that was very interesting coming into the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like you've had a certain level of guests who have achieved a lot, or they've done with their career and they're kind of Hall of Fame level.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I'm unproven. And at this point, I think that's a very interesting point to be at.
Interesting.
You know, for me, this feels like a checkpoint, you know. Well, will I go on to do these big things that I'm going to say I'm going to do? Because I am.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to take me. It could be a year. It could be 10 years, but I'm here.
Well, you said like unproven, and you've already proven things. But unproven, like, what's a short-term thing? What's something right in the immediate future that you're looking at and going, that needs to happen? Yeah, we know bullseye on toxic masculinity. Yeah. We know letting the world. I did something similar when I was doing Dashing Cody Rhodes. I was out there trying to explain to men how to self-groom.
Yeah.
How to take care of themselves.
I was watching,
and I was a villain for it. And I today, I don't think how.
I get a bit of a mixed response. You know, I'm preaching a similar story to you, but there's a lot of people that are on my side. There's a lot of people that aren't, but I think that's the fun of it, right?
I'm very curious what it is you want to do next. I'll swing you one that is rather, you're probably going to go, what the? I was joking with you, very just locker room jostling, because I saw you at the Rumble, and you were leaving the show.
Yes.
And this is unrelated to you, this part of my rant. I'll get back to the other part. I now am really on the kick of why are guys leaving the show early? Yeah. I'm really genuinely not a fan of this isn't on you. This was you're not even going to wait till the middle of the show. What if someone gets hurt? What if you're needed? Carmelo Hayes one time when the audio busted in overseas, I had done a whole promo with Randy that if fans know, they saw a version from Keith Blomberg's camera on the floor because we had no production. And while we were figuring out how to do that and not kill a live audience, Carmelo Hayes was ready and ran to the ring and did a little something. I don't even remember. Those moments happen. So I've been really on this kick lately about where are you going? And like also a lot of the older wrestlers who are like in that grizzled phase, like we're all grizzled at this point, or we've all been grizzled. Like cheer up. Yeah. Cheer up. Like you get back in there or hide it. You want to be, like I've left plenty of shows early. I'm guilty as well. I've also hidden it. I never did it right in front of somebody. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. But you pulled me aside and you told me why. Yeah. And what I would say, and I was thinking about this morning, you were talking about you were not part of the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And I think very much you wanted to be part of the Royal Rumble. Yeah. What I told Carmelo Hayes, actually, here we are talking about him again, is the same thing I'm going to tell you now as far as, and we definitely going to have to get you another one of those. Yeah, maybe. Is I would say that's the last Royal Rumble you're not part of.
Yeah, do you know what? I do think that was a again, we talk about these checkpoints
Yeah.
along the career. There was, you know, I don't like to go too behind the curtain, but there was a situation where I thought maybe there was, you know, maybe it was a sure thing, and then something happened, and then I wasn't. So that day, you know, I was kind of struggling with those emotions, which is okay because I'm not toxic.
You're not toxic. Yeah.
However, you know, I do value your opinion. I do value a lot of other people's opinions. You know, AJ talked to me that day as well. So the next day, I just came in, smile on my face, as I always try and do, but I made an extra effort on the day of the Rumble, smile on my face, and I just worked in every which way I could possible, you know, not to put myself over, but I was doing the interviews. I was working with...
you put yourself to use.
I put myself to use because what else was going to do? And I was working with the China social teams. I do a lot with them, ni hao.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Ni hao.
Yeah, ni hao. Well, I'm a fan. But
Okay.
I think that day as well, I kind of won over the Miz because the Miz kept on walking back. You know, he's prepping for his match, he's doing his things. But he saw me like 2 or 3 times in the middle of, you know, kind of pushing for things.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the impetus on the Miz liking me.
I mean, Miz liking you is probably a great thing.
I sent him a pitch actually 2 days ago.
Oh, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about your pitches here in a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're
okay.
gonna
Yeah,
talk-
well, I sent one to Mike 2 days ago, and you know, I've only texted him once before. He's Hollywood.
yeah.
And Cardona
Oh
told
my
me.
God, very Hollywood.
Cardona told me he doesn't reply.
Yeah.
But
He replied to you though, didn't he?
I had a pitch, and he
Yeah.
replied. He
Yeah.
complimented me, and he ended with awesome.
Wow. So he,
You know, a little
he's
teenage
out there-
buzz for me there.
He's out there living the gimmick, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the teenager in me, I loved it.